just looking broadly about why the TPP are the digital provisions in TPP good for the global economy and why? For the panel generally.
Yeah, you go.
Oh, goody. Well, this goes back in a way to this idea of locking in sort of a great, what we think is a system that has worked really well to foster a strong kind of environment for the internet to thrive. And the TPP, to the extent that it sets this standard for globally, that locks in some of those elements of our domestic policy that worked so well to make the internet grow here, that that's a very positive thing. So that is, to our mind, an important piece of what TPP does to promote, the internet globally. The other thing that I think TPP does is it has woken us up to what is happening overseas, and I think that it has caused us to reflect a bit on how our own domestic environment, what the international implications of some of our domestic policies and what that means for the internet too. So I think it's very important both as setting a high bar for the whole for globally, but also it's an important way for us to start reflecting on what we want here in the United States that will make this global environment work best for the internet.
So maybe two thoughts. So as I mentioned, in the 80s, we added new stuff to the trade world. We added investment in services and intellectual property, and there was an enormous amount of resistance to the U.S. pushing those issues up the agenda. And a lot of it was driven by suspicion. A lot of it was driven by the fact that our economy had moved forward into those areas a little sooner. So it was a big sales job. I think we're sort of in the same place today with data and with digital commerce generally, which is the U.S. Is super innovative, and we have done great things in this space. And there's a certain suspicion that this is just a U.S. thing, and I think that is fundamentally wrong. If you look at Dorothy's cow example, but it's just one. I mean, we all talk about the benefits of data. This administration has put out a number of studies on that. Lots of people talk about reducing carbon footprints, to curing diseases, to just simply getting you to work on time. That's not a U.S. issue. That's an issue everywhere. And the more that we enable data and data processing tools, technologies, and skills on a global basis, those benefits are going to be global. And I think we're in the process of understanding the transformation that we are seeing globally into much more of a data-centric economy, whether that is something entertainment, like a movie, or whether that is something truly fundamental, like how to cure a particular disease. So that's the transition that we're going through. We're not quite there yet. I think the benefits are global. I think disciplines will help everybody, but we're in a transition process rather than a fully there kind of process.
And I just chime in to underscore some of what Emery just said. In the obligatory recitation of my background, you mentioned both the private sector and public interest experience, and I would say from private sector perspective, for years we struggled to get these issues to be front burner issues in these kind of trade conversations. This is a major step. There's no doubt about it in terms of building that kind of argument and support for these ideas, so that they're not just U.S. ideas. I will also say that I did some work in the public interest community just before coming into the department, and years ago when I was at the Center for Democracy and Technology. A couple months ago, I penned a blog post talking about why TPP is good for the open internet. And I will say I got some hate mail from some of my former colleagues. But I feel really confident in saying that we know that there are things that people would like to see improved in TPP for sure. We know that there's a lot of broader political controversy around trade agreements for sure, but I think it is also something to be said for sure that this is an agreement that will do a lot to promote the free and open internet. internet. I mean, you take a look at all these provisions about promoting the free flow of data, combating forced localization, preventing forced technology transfer. There are enhancements for transparency and public participation. There are strengthened, stronger consumer protections. There are provisions about encryption, the long list that Emery and we've been talking about here all day. So I just think, you know, there's a lot to be said about the agreement, but I think there's a very strong case to be made that if you're starting from the lens of the digital economy and the importance of a free and open internet, this is an agreement that will do a lot for it.